By popular demand, today we're talking about blood transfusions. So I've had a lot of questions based on all the complications we've talked about regarding how exactly a blood transfusion in sickle cell is different from a typical blood transfusion. So all of us have a specific blood type. There are 4 different specific letter types. There's A, B, AB, or O, and then there's a positive or negative, what they call Rh factor, associated with that. So you could be an A positive or a B negative, things like that. When they match your blood, they try to match it. There's certain blood types that are what they call universal donors and universal recipients, such as O negative. Is considered a universal donor. That means that regardless of what your blood type is, O negative, you can receive O negative. So they often use these in like emergencies if they don't have time to type and cross your blood. So that makes it pretty easy for us to get blood if we need it in an emergency. However, in sickle cell, they need to match the blood at a much higher matching rate because your body has a much stronger chance of rejecting it. So blood from a donor going into your body is seen similarly as an organ going into your body. So there is a chance that if it's not matched correctly or close enough, that your body will reject it, and you can actually have a reaction to this, an allergic reaction to somebody's donating blood. So in sickle cell, they make an effort. There are just a little bit over 20 what they call antigens that are possible within blood typing. And in sickle cell, they make an effort to match every single type the best that they can. These are specific proteins that they're trying to match. And the closer they can get, the more stronger of a likelihood of your body just allowing it to go in and there not being a problem with it. Because people with sickle cell have a much higher rate of having frequent transfusions. Some people are actually on chronic transfusions as a way to eliminate severe debilitating pain crises or strokes if they've had a history of stroke, or acute chest syndrome if you have that repeatedly. There are different protocols for going on these chronic transfusions, and trying to get the blood matched as close as possible is one way to be able to continue these transfusions. So what happens if I can't get the blood matched to those 20 proteins? Well, if I can get, say, 17, but not all 20, my body might recognize some of those other proteins that I don't have as a foreign object or like an enemy, we'll say, and will develop something called an antibody. So an antibody is your body's way of flagging that trait or that object and saying, hey, we're going to fight you off the next time we see you. Okay, so your body does this whenever you have an immunization. So I get my polio immunization, and it's just got a little tiny bit of actual polio in it, not enough to make me sick. My body tags it with an antibody so that the next time I see the polio, I fight it off, which is why up here in the US, we don't have polio anymore. Right? So the same thing happens with that blood. I received that blood. It wasn't matched specifically to my body close enough, and I developed that antibody. And the next time I see blood that has that same protein that I don't have, I will fight it off and I will reject the blood. So you can see that over time, if you develop antibodies to too many of these proteins, eventually you will struggle to be able to find any blood that matches you. Compounding this is that because sickle cell specifically affects a much higher percentage of African Americans and now Hispanics, you also have a higher percentage of matching if you're in the same ethnic group, and there aren't as many donors in those specific ethnic groups to match the need for sickle cell. So there's this huge push in the sickle cell communities to get African Americans and Hispanics to donate blood so that there is a higher chance of finding a match that matches all 20 of those proteins. Stay tuned tomorrow when we're going to talk about iron overload, which is a nasty side effect of these repeated transfusions. Check us out on the web at hopeforstd.org and post any comments or questions below. Thanks.